Look, he's going to sell all this. He's going to give away. You don't want to take no flames?
I might take that chair.
What chair?
The folding chair.
It's mine.
My mom is just a very interesting person. She has there's a character there behind the whole, who she is. She comes across sometimes very strong, and she's very open-minded. Doesn't care what anyone thinks about her. She will just tell you how it is and all. Doesn't know she's hurting your feelings, but yet she's just telling you the truth. And if you don't like the truth, then it's like, oh well.
Let's go get a tattoo together. Look, there's tattoos.
You're crazy. I murder you.
Mother! You won't murder your granddaughter.
We're gonna hit her.
She grew up here in San Antonio, but then her aunt and uncle came into her life, and she was actually taken from them to go to California. She lived in California, San Francisco, Panama, and her uncle was in the Navy. And she loved traveling with them, and finally brought her back to San Antonio.
I grew up in California, San Diego, and Nashville City. I went to school over there. And then I used to go and come back and go back on vacations and come back. And then when I was 15, from San Francisco, I just came back and I didn't go back. I stayed here. And that's all. I mean, and I travel a lot, but not anymore.
Her first husband died in a train wreck with his lover, and my mom and him had a son together named Jesse.
Oh, I met him in the library. They had a dance many years ago, and I met him there. And we got married about a year later, and I had one son, Jesse. And he went to Laredo and with a lady, and he got killed, both of them. And that's all. Then I got married to my husband in 1949.
And you met Dad where?
I met him in a friend's house.
A friend's house. Very handsome Dad, right?
Yes, I still have the picture.
Very handsome.
Very handsome. Hazel eyes. He looked more Anglo than Spanish.
Yes. And he fell in love with you?
I think so. I don't know. Why don't you ask him? He's over there.
Why don't you ask him? Well, he's in
He's
the
over
grave.
there.
Mother! He's not down there. He's actually up there somewhere, you think?
I don't know where we're going, up or down. We never know.
Did you take care of my dad?
I used to babysit for your dad when he was a baby.
Grandma raised me because my mom failed to raise me, and she was just a poor mother. No, I'm just playing. You might want to edit that. My dad was deployed, and Grandma raised me, so I thought that was pretty awesome. She fed me a lot of food. I was really fat.
When he grew a little bit older, your grandma used to go to work, and we would sit outside, and he didn't even notice if your grandma left or not. He was used to be them with her.
It was just awesome that as a grandma, she took care of me and supported me and did things that normal people do.
Yeah.
Who were you married to?
But to your grandpa, great grandpa, no. What else?
If there's medicine to keep that woman alive, it'd be Bud Light and what are those cigarettes called? They're like 100s or something. I remember they're like in a gold grayish package, and I used to go buy them for her. I was buying my grandma beer and cigarettes. I felt like a, I don't know, like one of those older guys buying younger kids, like a minor's alcohol.
But I only smoke one day, whenever I have time.
One day? You smoke every day, but not
Not every day, mira, stool pitching.
Mother.
Grandma's not always drinking, smoking, but that's like her forte.
Just say
This is my interview. Okay, it's not your interview.
Don't get too close to me because I smoke.
Our first loss in the family was my brother Eddie. He died at 35 years old, my brother, back in 1993. And it was like a hard hit for the whole family.
This is my son Eddie
Eddie.
in the living room.
Yes.
This is when Eddie came from the
From
Marine.
Camp Pendleton. That's a
Pendleton.
great picture, Mother.
No, Eddie was he used to dance. He was a good dancer. He used to lady that used to sing, the girl. He always was, wherever she will be, he will be there. He was a good dancer and very, very handsome kid was there. Yeah, he went to high school and all that, and they killed him.
My brother Eddie first, then my brother Jesse, my half-brother. My half-brother Jesse died, and then my brother Bobby, so she's lost 3 sons. But of course the first was the hardest because he was so young and all, had 3 kids, lived in California. I know I saw her, she cried when he died, of course, that's her son, but she didn't, she's cried more when my dad passed away. She cried so hard.
When Dad started getting sick with his Alzheimer's, remember you thought he was going crazy, but because you didn't understand his disease, and he would be sitting there and you'd be sitting here. And one time I walked in and he had some beer with him, and I go, why did you give him beer? And you go, so that he can just be quiet.
It was a pain in the neck. But I'm glad wherever he is, he's in a better place. Yeah. I used to sit here with your grandpa, and he used to say, bring me a beer, you have and me have. I remember a long time ago, we used to sit over here, see outside.
I love being around Grandma. She just makes me feel like I'm high or something. High on life. That's what I meant to say.
She'd always say, she's just so strong about it. She always just tells me, just live your life every day, like it's your last day here on earth, and you never know what can happen. And I've just learned to be a strong person, even though sometimes I feel like I'm not strong. Just to keep going on and just say, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. There's always someone watching over you. She always says that. So I always feel like there's always someone watching over me, that I'm gonna just conquer that obstacle, whatever it is that I'm going through. It's gonna be okay.
Mother, what do you want to tell Monica Lisa from California, like say before you pass away?
So what can I do? I don't know when I'm going to pass
what do you
away.
want to tell them? Like, give them advice of something, or tell them that,
What advice would you give us?
Be good to each other. Don't lie. Don't steal. That's the best thing you can do. And don't talk about nobody. I never talk about nobody. I'll tell you in your face if you want to know something about me. I'm very blunt. I might be old, but anyway.
All right, Grandma. So if you get to see this film, that's great. But if your time has come to an end and you don't get to see it, well then you don't need to see it because you already lived this. So, peace. Cut.
All right, am I through? Hijo. This is like being in the movies. Don't bring her no more. And she's the one that's going to be here.
We're good. We're good.